Hello, everyone. My name is Kyla Bolden, and welcome to the very first episode of Beyond Bold. Thank you so much for listening. It has been a goal of mine for a long time to start a podcast. So I am super excited to be launching my very first podcast. And I wanted to record this short episode to tell you a little bit more about what you can expect from Beyond Bold, introduce you to me because I'm sure some of you guys, or probably most of you guys now, know me in some capacity, but hopefully some of you guys are new. And I definitely want to tell you a little bit more about my story as an entrepreneur and really why you should listen to this podcast. So, to start off with about Beyond Bold, we are going to be following the stories and introducing incredible entrepreneurs, leaders, athletes, just individuals who have had the boldness to step out, go after their dreams, and do it in unconventional ways. I know when I started my company, one of the things that I've always looked for is individuals who look like me or resonated with me in some way. And I wanted to see them achieve their goals. And I wanted to learn how they did it so that I could take bits and pieces from their journey and apply it to mine. So we're definitely going to have a focus on individuals who come from interesting backgrounds and have had interesting pathways to the top. And we're not just going to focus on everything business and going after goals. That is the main focus. But I really do feel like your well-being and mental health is 90% of really achieving your dreams and goals. And when it comes to that 90%, I definitely want to talk a lot about what I'm doing to actually achieve that. So some of that has to do with the books I'm reading. I'm a big reader, so I'm definitely going to be talking about that. The tools that I'm using, whether it's a tech tool or the exercise classes that I'm going to, that's helping me be a better overall human being, helping my mindset, which in turn is helping me in my life inside the office as well too. And just to give you a little bit of background about me, I am from Bermuda, born and raised. I went to school in the US for boarding school and university. Now I live in Canada, so I've had a lot of really interesting experiences through living in three different countries. And really, what's one of the most pertinent things for this podcast is I am an entrepreneur myself. I started my company when I was just 20 years old. I'm 28 years old now, and that company still remains to this day. I've grown it and it has evolved a lot from when I started it when I was 20. And just to give you a little overview about my company is called WizKit Learning and WKL Academy. It is an education technology startup, and I am so proud of what we've been able to do throughout the years. So the main focus of our company is making sure that students from all walks of life have access to quality future focused education. So we teach students from over 30 different countries in courses like AI, coding, software development, cybersecurity. And the goal is to really make sure that they have the tools to be successful in the future. So as I said, we've grown a lot since when we first started. We used to just solely do in-person classes. Now it's an online learning platform with live classes as well as self-paced courses. We teach students from all over the world, like I said, and we've been able to do some amazing things since the beginning. So in addition to teaching kids from all over, we've won prizes like the Google for Startups Prize, Cartier Women's Initiative Award. We were a Columbia University eLab Fellow. We've done some really terrific things. And I think one of the hardest things that I've done is raise venture capital for my company, and which is something that I'm definitely going to talk about. We all know the stats. Less than 2% of VC funding goes to women, and even less goes to Black women. And I was very lucky to raise over $1 million in venture capital funding, which sounds like a lot, but it is not compared to the funding that exists out there for a lot of other people. But it helped us get to where we are today. And I'm so thankful and feel so blessed that I've been able to do that. And I definitely want to share my journey when it comes to raising capital, growing this company as the person who I am, which is a Black woman navigating a world that really doesn't have a lot of people in this industry that look like me. And as you can imagine, starting a company at 20 came with a lot of learning lessons, a lot of twists and turns. And my hope for this podcast is really to inspire you by telling you about all of the really interesting stories I have, some fun, some not so fun from growing my company, and really the lessons that I've learned throughout the way. So that's going to be a big part of this podcast. One of the things that I've had to do from starting a company from such a young age is really learn how to be productive and healthy and adult all at the same time as growing my company. Definitely comes a lot easier now that I'm a lot older, but in the beginning as a 20-year-old, not so easy, right? So we're going to be talking a lot about well-being, productivity, and I'm a tech founder too. So a lot of how I keep my life on track, both personally and professionally, has to do with technology. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. So I hope you guys enjoy this journey. One of the things I want to make sure that you guys know is that this podcast is really meant to make you feel good coming out of it. My goal and hope is that after you listen to my podcast, after you listen to an episode, you're not really writing down a million different things that you have to do additionally in order to be successful. We're definitely going to give you a lot of tips and practical tricks in order for you to get to your goals quicker. But my main purpose of this podcast is I want you to come out feeling motivated and feel like you have the tools that you need to achieve your really, really big dreams. So that is the purpose of this podcast. And I am super excited to have you guys on this journey. As I said, we're going to be interviewing some incredible people, everyone from athletes to entrepreneurs, just individuals who are doing really cool stuff when it comes to their careers and their lives. There's going to be solo episodes where I talk about productivity tips and just stories from my 8+ years of building my company. And we're also going to be hearing from you, the listener, a lot. So you guys can write in, ask us questions. I'll even ask my guests these questions as well, too, whether it has to do with your business or productivity, health, or happiness in general. We are going to be answering it. So thank you so much for listening to the first episode. As I said, this is like the mini episode just to tell you a little bit about who I am, and I'm going to be going into a lot more about, my entrepreneurship journey, all of those types of things as well too, as the podcast goes on. And just thank you so much for listening. Even though this is the first podcast, please subscribe and download the podcast. Give it 5 stars. You can even tell us in your comment on the things that you want to see, the people you want to see on the podcast. And I'm looking forward to being on this journey with you guys. Have an awesome day, and thanks for listening.